We're going to be talking to Irvine band Saints. It's a track from their Dead and Gone EP. This is a place that I call home. We've got Alex, we've got Paddy, and we've got Darren. Alec, you are vocals and guitar.
Yes.
And we have Paddy, you are drummer.
That's true.
And we have Darren behind the big screen here, and you are the lead guitarist.
Lead guitarist, aye.
Now, first thing I've got to ask, how long have you guys been going as a band?
Probably about a year and a half to 2 years, roughly. Yeah, we can't remember the exact time we started, but that'll be about right.
And how did you all get together? Had you played before in other bands, or?
Yeah, well, myself, Darren and John, who's not here, we'd kind of played together for a while before, and we always knew Paddy before as well, who'd been playing in different bands and stuff, and eventually we just decided to form one of our own.
Yeah, and Saints were born.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, how would you class? We heard the track there, the kind of lead track off the Dead and Gone EP, A Place That I Call Home. How would you class yourselves?
To be honest, I find it quite difficult to class ourselves. I mean, when we write our stuff, we just write what comes to us naturally, and I suppose it falls under that kind of rock bracket, and you can hear some influences of one or two other things as well, but I guess it just kind of falls under the rock.
It is kind of hard though. It's a hard sound to pigeonhole. I mean, I mentioned to you when we were off air that I felt when I first heard that there was kind of even elements of rockabilly, if I can say that.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say that we listen to a lot of that kind of older stuff, so that probably just comes naturally, I guess, when it comes to writing, for sure. Now,
I've got to ask, where did you get that great sound for the song, for the EP? Because it's got a cracking sound on it.
Probably need to hand that to our producer, Paul. I don't know, just during the recordings, we knew roughly what we wanted to go for, the sort of sound we wanted to go for. But a lot of things changed when we started recording, and so Paul really sort of brought out the best in us. That's it, I think so.
Yeah, it just kind of fell into place that way. He obviously added his own element into it, Paul, and things just obviously came natural.
Now, guys, we are going to talk about the EP in length, but first of all, I'm going to come to each of you in turn and ask you what your influences are and what got you into music. Alex?
In terms of influences, there's nothing really in particular. I've always liked older music, just because I think it's got a bit more character to it, and I've inherited a lot of kind of older CDs and things from grandparents and siblings and stuff, so I guess that always kind of stuck with me in terms of influences, and with the guitar, I suppose I just kind of thought it was cool to begin with, and just picked it up and singing. I never really started singing until I was about 18 years old, and I've just been learning ever since. Some would say I'm still not quite there.
What kind of music were you listening to when you were growing up?
To be honest, I never really got into music until I was about 14, and I remember having a clear out of CDs at my gran and papa's house, and there was this 50s CD, and it was one of the ones you used to get free with the papers, and I mind my papa taking it and saying, something, that's the best CD you've got, and I guess that just kind of, I took his word for it, and so it's like Jerry Lee Lewis and stuff was all on it, all the kind of Frankie Lane and a mix of kind of. I can hear that 50s influence in Saints sound. It's definitely there. Yeah, I would agree with you on that one, Ronnie. I think you're right. There's definitely a kind of, you can hear that somewhere in there. For sure.
Paddy, yourself, what kind of stuff influenced you? What made you become a drummer?
I've always liked the drums. I think they're the kind of, I think they're the coolest instrument in the band, but that's just my opinion. But
I'd like to put on record I disagree with that.
We all know it's true, but anyway, I think Jamie Cook from the Sex Pistols kind of made me want to play drums. I remember watching a videotape of the Sex Pistols. It was like a kind of mixed punk documentary sort of thing. The Sex Pistols were in it, and they were playing God Save the Queen right across the Houses of Parliament. But in this big boat in the River Thames, and I remember seeing the drummer and I just thought, I want to play drums, so that's probably where I did it.
I mean, I watched an interview with the band that you did an interview for a young Ryan Norrie who was on the show a while back, and I thought, I mean, there was a bit of carry on it, but I thought it was pretty good, and I was very impressed when you said the first album you bought was Nevermind the Bollocks, the Sex Pistols.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I think it was my dad got me into it. My dad got me into the sort of punk music, and then all of a sudden I wanted to be Johnny Rotten, as he was known. So I used to dress up as him at Halloween and stuff like that.
So I take it when you were growing up, you listened to more punk stuff than anything?
Yeah, more punk, and then went on to sort of mod kind of music, feeling like the Clash, the Jam and stuff like that. So a lot of punk sort of influences.
Yeah. Darren, what about yourself?
It's a lot of mainly kind of classic rock. Kind of grew up to it. My big brother, my dad, just everybody kind of round about listening to a lot of classic rock, and just your likes of Led Zeppelin. My dad's a great fan of Alex Harvey. I think that he's absolutely brilliant. Our guitarist Saul Clemenson. It's just a lot of the influences. As Alex was saying, a lot of the older stuff, 50s and 60s, Jerry Lee Lewis, Chuck Berry, all your likes of that. Or you just can't beat it.
I think it's great.
It's just great to watch and listen to, and it just looks cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's great to see young guys who have been influenced by stuff that's really gone before, but you have still brought it together in a modern sound.
Yeah, definitely. I think, to be honest, that kind of modern sound comes into it because of the kind of generation we've grew up in. There's been a lot of good modern rock bands as well, and I suppose that kind of mix of influences is just kind of blended quite naturally for us.
Going to put you on the spot again here, one at a time. Alex, what was the last piece of music you listened to?
Oh dear, I can't remember, Ronnie.
Would it have been today?
No, it wouldn't have been today, which is pretty shocking actually. I don't know. It would have been possibly Frankie Lane, but I couldn't completely confirm that. I remember listening to that last night amongst other things.
I'm impressed. Paddy?
The last piece of music I listened to was a producer called Paul Kalkbrenner, and the song was called Sky and Sand. Listen to that.
Very good. Darren, what was the last thing you listened to?
It was actually on the way here. I threw on the Eagles' Greatest Hits CD, just flicking through a couple on that.
Very impressed. First, before we talk about the EP, I mean, when I was telling you earlier, when you sent me, I think it was you, Alex, you sent me the EP, but how had nobody heard of you? How have you kept so much under the radar?
I don't know. I mean, I think we did that deliberately in many respects, that a lot of bands kind of jump the gun and start a Facebook page and Twitter and whatever else that is popular these days, and they do all that before they've even got any songs written or anything. I think a lot of bands have actually forgotten what it's all about. Like you get in a band to make music, and that's our priority. So to do that, we just kind of laid low for a while to work on the songs, and then once we were ready to kind of show face a wee bit more,
anyway,
we did that.
Yeah, sorry. How did you approach the EP? Like, you were going into the studio to record the EP. How did you approach it, and did you have a lot of songs to choose from?
Yeah, we to be honest, that was kind of part of the struggle, because we've got it sounds a bit kind of big-headed, but we've got like quite a lot of material, if you like, sat aside, and to kind of pick from it was quite difficult, trying to pick songs that kind of complemented each other, especially in an EP where you've got a kind of limited amount of songs that you can fit onto it without kind of stretching it to be an album type thing. So yeah.
And you've recorded it in Glasgow, I take it, yeah?
Yeah.
Paddy?
It was 45 A-Side Studios, and it was Paul McAnally who was the producer. So
had you looked around, I mean, what made you pick that particular studio? Had you heard good things about it?
Yeah, I think it was a kind of last sort of minute thing with that studio. I mean, we'd tried elsewhere before, and we kept getting let down, the producers, and I think it was one of my mates had mentioned Paul, One of my mates at college had mentioned Paul McAnally, and I just gave him a phone really. Well, multiple times I tried to phone him, but I always went to answer machine, but I eventually got him, and that's what we kind of...
we found it quite difficult to actually kind of sift through all the kind of local recording studios and producers and that, and to find someone that we thought would actually suit us and would like work really well with us. But I think we've hit the nail on the head.
It's a trust thing, isn't it? Because you're trusting the producer to get the sound that you're wanting.
Yeah, that's it. And I think as well you need to kind of... Producer needs to offer something kind of slightly different as well. Like the way the songs turned out were fair, I think it's fair to say a wee bit different for kind of what we expected them to be. We kind of thought of ourselves as quite an organic band and like almost kind of rough and ready, but the songs turned out pretty slick.
Yes.
And I think that's a big part down to Paul's production on it, but I suppose it's also part how much we rehearse it, because we rehearse an awful lot, so I think that's kind of just made the songs really tight, I suppose.
I mean, many people say the producer can actually end up being, like in your case, the fifth member of the band.
I would probably agree with that, to be honest. Because I think we see Paul as a good, a mate as well as a producer. It's not really, we can have a good laugh with him and stuff. So.
Because when you're recording individually, I mean, you're always feeding back to the producer. You're always asking them. It's always a discussion with that specific person. So, it's their opinion's kind of really valued when it comes to that. So, as you said, it's a trust thing. You're trusting them to do their best they can.
So, how long did it take, start to finish, to do the EP?
As in, like, start from writing to...
Well, say from picking your songs to recording them.
From picking the songs to recording them, probably took about 3 or 4 months, and that's probably because there was a few kind of mix-ups here and there with other producers. It maybe would have went a wee bit quicker had we managed to find Paul sooner, but it was probably about 3 to 4 months.
What did you think when it was all finished and you're sitting maybe in the studio and hearing the playback of the whole EP for the first time?
I was kind of... I suppose I was quite gobsmacked with the quality of the songs. The production quality was just was outstanding, I thought. Nothing else really to say. It was just...
Was that one of those moments, is that us?
In many respects, I mean, it's hard kind of listening to your own songs as well, because because you're so used to hearing them, it's like you it sounds again a wee bit big-headed, but you kind of already know they're really good songs, and it's kind of weird hearing them back without you actually like sitting playing them in a room somewhere. But I would echo what Paddy said there, that I was taken aback by the actual kind of quality of the recordings and how kind of slick all the songs sounded together once they were recorded.
I mean, you mentioned there like you thought you were going to have a rough and ready sound, and then when it was all by, it was like it was just
it was
very smooth,
dramatically from what we sort of first thought they were going to sound like, but in a good way.
Yeah,
not a bad way.
Now, guys, let's talk about gigs. Alex, you were playing a gig at the weekend. You were up at the Buffs Club in Glasgow.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Up in Glasgow, it was good. I enjoyed myself. I think the guys did as well.
Aye. I mean, we were talking there when the last song was on about the sound that you have got on the EP and how all that translates live.
Yeah. I feel like I'm talking too much. I'll let these guys answer that question.
We kind of go in. One of the main goals was in the studio was to create a sound that we could replicate live. It's a lot. You go to see a lot of bands and it sounds nothing like their record.
Yeah,
I kind of feel it's almost kind of cheating people in a way that they come to see a band live and it's nothing like what you've listened to. So we just like to recreate what we do in the studio live. It's as close to it as we can get it.
Did I read on one of your pages you have actually done some dates in Germany?
We did, yeah.
Yeah,
a while back, yeah.
How what was the reception like? They're pretty good, huh?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, the material we were playing, we had to try and we wrote a couple of songs to actually take out there because our set wasn't as big to do another set. But nah, that was good. It was good fun.
So, future gigs, you've got one coming up in the beginning of July, haven't you?
Yes, 3rd of July at Nice and Sleazy's up in Glasgow again.
And I had it was funny that you talked about that, because right away something clicked in my head and said the Ranzers are playing it that night as well.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I was chatting to one of the guys on Facebook and said, Ronnie, any chance you can mention that we're playing at Nice and Sleazy in the 3rd?
We've got them covered.
And there you go. The Saints have got you guys covered. So, I mean, where do you see the band being in like a year's time? Do you think, I mean, is there an album in the pipeline? Are you an EP band, or?
Yeah, they're saying we're actually we've pretty much recorded a full album, to be honest with you, Ronnie. We're thinking we could maybe squeeze in another song onto it, if anything, but all the material's actually sat there ready. It's just us sort of deciding how we want to approach it in terms of releasing and stuff. So probably we'll become an album band, I think, more so than an EP band, because as I said earlier on, we've got loads of material that we want to have recorded and share with people, I guess.
Will the Dead and Gone EP be a separate entity, or will some of the tracks from that kind of be integrated into the album?
I think all of them will probably end up in the album for sure, yeah, because we're I think, again, not to blow our own trumpet, but we were quite proud of how those turned out, and we'd quite like to kind of stick them on a debut album, if you like.
Yeah,
sure.
So, are we looking at more gigs throughout the year, or are we kind of back into record, or?
A bit of both, I think.
Yeah. If people will have us, gigging wise, that would be great. Sometimes it's quite difficult to try and get these things organised, unfortunately, but if folk will have us for gigs, and if people will come along, definitely we'll be gigging for the foreseeable future.
I'll need to catch you sometime, because I want to hear that sound live. I would love to see you do something local sometime, but I know the opportunity is not always there.
Yeah, I mean, I would be open to it. It's one of these things. It's just, we spend a lot of time trying to get gigs in these kind of areas where it's, if you like, the opportunities are easier to get, and there's more likely to be kind of a crowd of music lovers, if you like, there. So I mean, that's not to say there's places in Ayrshire as well that you can get that, but we've just found it a wee bit kind of hard to grasp.
I'll catch you sometime in the near future, even if it is up in Glasgow or wherever. Now, you are playing, you're playing Sleazy's on January the 3rd, July the 3rd, and I believe you were telling me you're Edinburgh the next night.
That's right, yeah. Sneaky Pete's in Edinburgh will be playing the following night, sure.
So, anyway, guys, I want to thank Alex, Paddy and Dan from Saints for coming in tonight, and of course, great EP, Dead and Gone. Yes, keep me a hard copy of that, because you were saying that you've actually got them in.
Yeah.
I hope everything goes well for you. I hope the EP sells lots, and I hope when you release the album as well, it gets all the good reviews and does well for you. Guys, thanks very much for